The hospital I work at has rules that seem to be designed to kill people. I just figured out the horrifying reason why. Doctors see shit that would make your skin crawl. Sometimes it involves literal shit. Occasionally some skin nearly does crawl, though melt is a better term for what necrotizing fasciitis does to a person. One time I saw a patient start eating out their own sibling through the security cameras. But that wasn't even the worst that I saw. No textbook could have prepared me for the moment that I stood shoulder to shoulder with the chief of medicine, forcing the decaying body of a charred kid into the incinerator as his one functioning eye glared back at us in hateful judgment. He was wedged in the narrow door at the shoulders, with only his head sticking out into the room with us. His jaw had long since fallen off, and the rotting tongue danced above his inverted face like a charmed snake. "Dr. Scrit," I whispered in a quavering voice, "what are we supposed to do? We're bound by primum non nocere, so don't we have to?" "You're bound to help the living, Dr. Aphelis, which includes me and possibly yourself if you help me out right fucking now." She grunted this while moving her hands to the top of the boy's head. As she pushed, the entirety of his scalp slid off like a flaky scab ripped from a wounded leg. A fresh, clean white skull shined from underneath as the boy's torn skin dropped to the floor like so much ground beef. They're easier to grab without the skin. Push down on its head. Then she batted his tongue away like an annoying fly and pressed deeply into his shoulders. Her fingers disappeared into his flesh like a boot into thick mud. Dazed, I pushed against the boy's exposed bone. I was shocked to realize how cold it was and how it twitched as he fruitlessly tried to bite me with a jaw that didn't exist. I hate to give away the ending of this story, but you're going to be real surprised what this thing can do in about 10 seconds if you continue fondling it with the restrained intensity reserved for jerking off an octogenarian. "Push!" she yelled as she leaned in. The body slid into the incinerator with the gentle resistance of a bowel movement. Once inside, the boy screamed. Dr. Scrit shoved me violently aside, slammed a padlock into place, then spun the dial. I looked back at her in shock. She was a bitch for certain, but she'd never touched me before. Still, I was a first-year intern. The chief of medicine could pretty much force me to eat pus and call it ice cream. "Dr. Scrit," I asked shakily, "why did you put a padlock on the inciner?" The shrieking from beyond the lock was loud enough to shake the floor. "Turn it on," she commanded me. "Where are the—" She pushed me away once more and frantically clutched at a series of buttons that had been behind me. "Dr. Scrit!" I yelled in response to the shove. "Why are you—" Slam, slam, slam. The padlock bounced as the incinerator door was hit from the inside. A chill settled over my body even as the temperature grew noticeably warmer. "This is a custom incinerator," Dr. Scrit explained as she grabbed my arm and pulled me away from the door. "It will heat up very quickly, so stand." Slam, 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 slam. The pounding from inside the incinerator grew more forceful. I actually wondered if the padlock would hold. It flailed wildly back and forth with the rhythmic hitting. Crunch. "It's at 200 degrees, Dr. Scrit called as she looked toward the gauge. "We need it to get to 2,000. My head swam. "Most medical incinerators can't even get that hot." Crunch. Dr. Scrit turned to face me. "You're right, most can't." She looked back. 500 degrees. I gaped at her. "Is it really heating that quickly?" She betrayed no emotion in her response. "Can't you feel the change in the room?" For the first time I realized that I was sweating profusely. "How am I this hot? We're standing 10 feet away. So we'd better back up," she continued. 1,100 degrees. Slam. With a light tinkling, a tiny screw fell to the floor and rolled away. "Dr. Scrit," I breathed quietly. "I know you're sorry that it took so long to get the boy here." She paused. "We're all sorry." Crack. Dr. Scrit, the door to the incinerator. 1,500 degrees. A wave of heat squeezed fresh sweat from every pore. "I don't know if it will hold." Crack. 1,700 degrees. "The padlock is bending, the metal will melt. That's why we keep hundreds of padlocks in reserve." Slam, crunch, crack. We both stopped breathing. A hand-shaped indentation had slammed into the metal, warping it from the inside and leaving a seemingly impossible mark. We waited. 1,913 degrees. We waited longer. Nothing happened. Sweat stung my eyes so badly that I couldn't see. When I wiped it away, I found that my arm was even saltier, rendering the pain worse. "I think," Dr. Scrit uttered in a voice just above inaudible. That I stopped it. I stared through the shimmering heat waves radiating from the incinerator. Lumps of shorn flesh lay on the ground nearby. The smell of roasting carrion wafted through the air and gently tickled my gag reflex. I released the breath I had been unconsciously holding. "So, we're safe?" The door to the morgue slammed open and another intern sprinted inside. I recognized him as JD, a nervous guy who looked like he was in perpetual shock. "Dr. Scrit," he called across the room. "It's Dr. Brutzen, Rule 10. Despite the heat, a chill settled over the room that could have frozen my ass cheeks together. "Prepare an OR, now," she shocked back authoritatively. He quickly disappeared. She turned to sprint out of the room. "Dr. Scrit," I called back. She wheeled around and faced me. "What should I do about the incinerator?" She stared back like I had a dick instead of a nose. "You should learn to know when things are dead, Dr. Aphelis. Enough haunts our lives without us carrying those who have left us behind." Then she turned around to rush out of the room. "If you want to provide a modicum of usefulness, you can take a gurney out to Court Street. The roof is a long way from here." With that, she disappeared out the door. What the fuck was Rule 10? My hand flew to my pocket. It was empty. Fuck. The list must have fallen out while I'd been hauling the human mush into the incinerator. I'd needed a classmate to die before I could see the list of rules, but once it was so easily accessible, I'd just taken it for granted. I swore to learn a lesson from this and knew that I wouldn't. I'd read the rules once. Why would I need a gurney? I decided to sprint outside and find out what was happening first. The chilly night air latched onto my cold sweat, sending chills into every crevice in my body. I ran, and I saw nothing. There was no traffic, there were no people. I looked left, right, and left again. Then I looked up. Oh shit. That was Rule 10. Dr. Brutzen was standing a few feet from the edge of the roof. In the nearly full moon, I could see his body jittering like it was held by marionette strings. The entire scene was wrong. How and why could his limbs be moving like that? He was moaning softly. No, that wasn't it. He was crying. Nausea took hold of me as I realized that he was dancing closer and closer to the edge. I nearly collapsed as I remembered what the rule demanded. Either wait for an extraction team to find you, or jump 4 stories to the sidewalk on Court Street. Wait there, I screamed at him. Dr. Skrid is coming to get you. No, please, Brutzen screamed, although I don't know whether he was talking to me. Don't make it angry, make them go away. Hold on, I hollered back. You're almost safe, he wailed. I'm sorry, I tried to lock them out. Please don't do this. His body bounced and flailed like an electrified fish. It was so bizarre, so wrong to watch this man jittering out of control in the rooftop moonlight that I nearly cried. A door on the roof slammed open with such intensity that I could hear it clearly on the ground below. No, Brutzen wailed in response. No, please stay away, I'm sorry. Then he stepped away from the edge. I heaved an enormous sigh of relief. That relief evaporated when I realized he had only moved back to allow space for a running start. I watched in horror as Dr. Brutzen, my co-worker, my peer, ran forth and leapt into the night. He fell, arms and legs spinning toward the concrete where I stood 4 stories below. BD listened.